Hello everyone, welcome to another Voice Essentials live hangout. I hope you have had an excellent weekend. Today we're going to dedicate most of the session to Q&A. I'm very conscious of the last number of sessions that we've had that we haven't had a lot of time to really spend on Q&A, and that being said, I only really want to spend about half an hour today because I've got a full load of students, so I've got heaps to get through. Just very quickly, let us know where you're from, and Music Lover 700's already let us know that it's 8 p.m. currently in California on Sunday. Well, right now it's 2 p.m. here in Brisbane, Australia. And look, I've just seen the news. The Eagles have won. Am I right in knowing that the Eagles have won? I'm just jumping in here to double check my yes, the Eagles have won the Super Bowl. Was it 41-33? Now I say that knowing nothing about the Super Bowl. There are Australians who follow the NFL, but it's a pretty, I don't understand it. I know that sounds like I'm a bit of an ignoramus, but to those of us who are not inside the United States, the NFL is a bit of a mystery. I can follow basketball and I kind of understand a bit of what's going on with baseball, but when it comes to American football, I have no idea. Here in Australia, we have two main national winter sports called Australian Rules, AFL, that's the Australian Football League, and then we have a thing called the NRL, which is the Australian Rugby League, and that's what I tend to follow. I tend to follow rugby league, and it's quite a different game to the whole NRL. So anyway, if you're an Eagles fan, congratulations. I probably should have put a bit of a I should have put a spoiler alert in there. If you were hoping to watch it or you needed to watch it when you got home, I hope I haven't wrecked the result for you. But anyway, the cat's out of the bag. The Eagles have won, and I don't know whether that's a good thing, bad thing, because I actually have no idea of anything. Let us know in the comments section if you're an American. Let us know what you think about the win, and if you watched it. I dare say if you're hanging out with me live, and you're in the US, then you're unlikely to be a person that follows NFL, given that the game only just finished. I've just seen Dylan's jumped in. It's 11:30 in Kentucky. Hey, welcome Dylan, and Elias, would that be how I say your name? From Chile, good to have you. Catherine from Ireland. This is awesome. Tony's again from Florida. So good to have all of you joining in for today. And just a quick catch up. I think I saw you. Who is asking after Jody? And Jody's doing really well. She has another. For those of you who don't know, my wife was diagnosed with bowel cancer nearly 6 months, it'd be close to 6 months ago now. Wow. On the 11th of August, a date I will never forget. And anywho, so that cancer was removed with a portion of her bowel, and now she's been undergoing chemotherapy. And she only has, including today, she only has 3 more treatments out of 12 to go. It's crazy to think that she's been on this journey for nearly 6 months, and so she's doing, all things accounted for. We are dealing with cancer here. She is doing really well. So thank you for keeping her in your thoughts and your prayers, and it's good to know that you're all thinking of her. So my weekend was pretty. Don't you hate it when your weekend is filled with the psychology of having to go to the dentist? I went to the dentist on Saturday. It's something I try to do every 6 months, but I don't enjoy going to the dentist. I don't know how you feel about going to the dentist. It's not my favorite thing to do in the whole world. I don't wake up one morning and go, do you know what I'd like to do today? I'd like to go to the dentist. It's not something that I do. I do it, but I do it with a certain sense of apprehension. It's always all fine. But anyway, that was sort of what my weekend was filled with, and our little church group that I meet with, our family gets together with. We started up again for the year because we only meet on a Sunday night, but we don't meet during most of December and January. So February 4th was the opportunity for us to start up again, so that was good. And so that was my weekend. I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope that wherever you are, that you are surrounded by people who love you and who are encouraging you in your journey to sing. And that's what we're going to do today, as we do every Monday here. And as I said, today we're going to dedicate the entire show. I don't have a subject as such that we're going to discuss today, though. We'll end up discussing subjects in accordance with what you want to talk about, in accordance with your questions. And so I want you to make sure you leave your questions in the Q&A section. And Linda's going to be following along as our moderator today, which is fantastic. And so leave your questions. I'll be looking for them in the live chat. Hey, if you're watching this as a replay, you're not joining in live, but if you're watching as a replay, then welcome. I love having you join us after the live hangout. I mean, we do the live hangouts every Monday at 2 p.m. The way to be notified about the live hangouts in any of my videos, we have 3 videos a week, but the live hangouts, the only way you'll know I'm going live is to subscribe to the channel and then hit that white bell icon so that the notifications get sent out to you by YouTube, and that way you won't miss a show. But if you are watching this as a replay, then don't hesitate to leave your questions in the comments section below. You can't join in live, but you can ask your questions in the comments, and I do my very best to always answer those as well. So without any further ado, let's get into the show.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
Also, a big thank you to those of you who were able to watch my first big video for 2018. Just to give you a reminder. Well, hang on a second. I'll just double check my audio. I don't want to have sound going off in the background. So I wonder if how many of you have been able to see this video yet. This is the thumbnail you're looking at right now. And that video is about TV talent shows. So I wasn't giving anyone the hint last week. I hope you're able to watch it, and I saw a comment earlier about the TV talent shows and the fact that people really enjoyed the video. Hey, can I ask you guys, if you really believe in the message of that video, and if you haven't seen it, just jump across to the channel, and it's in the. You'll be able to find it. It's one of the most recent videos that I've done under the videos tab. Can I ask you guys, share it onto your social networks. If you believe in the message of the fact that these TV talent shows are doing more damage than good to young emerging artists, then hey, share it with your social networks, share it with your friends, let people know so that they don't, if they do still choose to go into these shows, that they're going in a little bit more wiser to the goings on and the trappings that are found within the show. And of course, if you disagree with the sentiment of the video, then you can leave your comment and have your say. I'm always keen to hear contrary views to my own, as long as we're able to remain civil in that discussion. And that's what we're going to do as we get into today's Q&A in the live chat. Remain civil, be kind to one another. And I'm going to jump right back up here. Let me see if I can. Okay, everyone, just hold. As you know, I do all this on my lonesome. Okay, so coming back up here. So, Catherine, thank you very much for your kind words up here. You're more than welcome. I love hanging out with you guys and sharing the knowledge that I have. My knowledge is not all-encompassing, as we many times discuss here on the channel, but nonetheless, what I can provide you, I try to. Now Matt's often one with questions here. Good to see you, Matt. Let's jump into his question to start. What's my best bet for making sure my throat is lubricated and ready for performance? Honey water, squirting straight honey from the bottle into your mouth, mint tea with honey, or salt water? Matt, the best way to hydrate the voice, the best way to hydrate the voice is to regularly sip 2 to 3 litres of water all day, throughout the day, every day. You must remember that whenever you drink water, the water does not touch, for the most part, the vast majority of that water does not ever go onto your larynx. If it did, if it got past the epiglottis and got to the vocal folds, you would go into a violent response because your body would start to think it was drowning. So the only way to hydrate your body completely is to actually ingest the water into your stomach and have that water then assimilate into your bloodstream, and then have your bloodstream distribute that hydration into the larynx, and then the vocal folds are lubricated via the ventricle. There's a small gap between the false folds and the true folds, and for some reason my brain's gone blank there, and it secretes a layer of lubrication across the vocal folds. So anything that you drink. Now, I do have a new video going live on Wednesday that I want you to all check out, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you guys are in the middle of your flu season right now. And so I've done a video especially for you guys about what to do, for a 3-day recovery plan for your voice for when you're sick. And I do mention a salt water gargle in that video, and I do make the point that when you gargle, you do get some level of hydration from that, but it's more of a surface level, and it's very minimal, to the point where really don't even focus on it. It's kind of, just a small bonus. The main hydration that you guys are going to get for your voice is through the disciplined drinking of H2O throughout the day. And that's why we refer to it as, I want to see you guys sipping your water, not sculling it, because it's as you sip throughout the day that your body doesn't then go, oh, I've got this excess. If I hit my body with this 1 litre thing of water and I just sculled it, then what's going to happen is my body's going to go, oh, excess water, and it will get rid of the majority of that water, and it won't get distributed throughout my body bloodstream. You are best to sip your water throughout the day. So Matt, I hope that's a helpful piece of information for you. Let's come down here. Leaving your questions, everyone. So here we go. V Rolly Z0, I think. I love to sing, and I'm progressing in terms of vocal range and connection of vocal registers. Everyone, I'm reading this question here. But I never did any singing exercise. Should I start doing them? Are they really effective? Well, you would not be surprised to hear me say, yes, they absolutely are effective. And it is so important to train your voice in a regimented and disciplined way. One of the questions I often get asked by brand new students, when I get them doing certain activities, then I can see them start to puzzle mentally of, why has he got me doing this? I'm never going to do this on a stage. I'm never going to perform with this. It's a little bit like, and I've used this illustration before here on the channel. It's a little bit like when we, the two iconic activities that I think of when I think of a boxer in their training, I think of the speed ball, so they're punching that, ball that they're, and the other thing I think of is skipping rope. Sometimes you might even think of stairs, running up and down the stairs. It's the old Rocky Balboa kind of workout. But you never see stairs, you never see a skipping rope, and you certainly never see a speedball in a boxing ring. Certainly in cartoons we might see the cartoon figure do this to another cartoon figure, but in real life, no boxer's doing that. What is that about? What it's about is developing muscle memory response, teaching the body to behave in a particular manner. And so that's exactly what good, purposeful, strategically instructed exercises will do for your voice. They, in many respects, they isolate a very specific activity. So the exercise that I'm thinking right now is an NG for the development of twang. Sing. And so that's exercise 4 on my exercise CD. Now, why do we do that? No one ever walks around going, no one ever does that, yeah? But what we do want is, at times, we want to be able to develop a clear focus resonance. To activate twang, we're activating a very specific muscle. There's a whole other video. In fact, there's a couple of videos on twang on my channel if you want to go and check it out. What we're doing is when we do the NG, when we activate it actually activates that muscle that's going to cause the shaping of the epiglottis into a narrowing space called the laryngopharynx, and it's activating. These days we just call it the twanger, and when it activates the twanger, it's actually making getting that muscle to exercise. And so certainly, when you're on stage, you're not singing, but when you do want to have a clear, focused resonance, and more importantly with twang, when you want more efficiency in your sound, then having learnt to activate the twanger, really important. And so we exercise that very specific muscle very purposefully. So just to finish up on that question, the singing exercises are really important. They are not the whole picture by any stretch, but they, for me as a technically focused coach, a technically focused singing teacher, they make up a predominant, the primary focus of my lessons are technically focused, and so, if you're interested, you can go and check out the whole exercise CD via the links below, and in fact, running across the bottom of the screen right now, you can see the links to go and check that out. Okay, coming back over for some more questions. Music Lovers saying, glad the Eagles won. I know it's like Monday in Australia, so people all over it may sound different, but yeah. I don't know. I don't even know who the Eagles are. Where are the Eagles from? Am I right in thinking they're from Philadelphia? I don't know. I have no idea. Music Lover love the top 10 video, and the TV auditions he agrees with. Awesome, thank you. Okay, coming down here. I'm just coming down here to see some questions. And I've said to you all before, my apologies for not scanning very well. It's typical male. I do struggle to scan at times. 4 a.m. in Ireland, Catherine. Why are you up? What are you doing? You must be an insomniac to be up at 4 a.m. in Ireland. Thank you for joining us at 4 a.m. in Ireland. That is crazy talk. Okay. Okay. Nye Rhymes is not into football, is in New York. Yeah, I dare say there's a fair few Americans that are not into football. So that's cool. So BJ's just jumped in. Good to have you join us, BJ. I was just interacting with you a little bit earlier today in the comments section of one of my videos. So it's good to have you join us. Bree from Ontario in Canada, good to have you. Music Love has just been to all the orthodontist and my mouth still hurts. Oh, well then, Music Lover, I'm sorry to hear that. My trip to the dentist was really not that big a deal. It was just for a hygienic clean, as I do every 6 months, and I've got nothing to complain about when it comes to my teeth because I've actually got really good, strong, healthy teeth, I do my best to look after them. But I've been blessed with a good starting point with really strong, healthy teeth. So I'm sorry to hear that your mouth is still sore. Mine wasn't sore the moment I stepped out of having had the clean. So I just don't like going to the dentist. We all should, but I don't like it. Matt is in New York also. Okay. Catherine's saying vibrating vocal cords. And I don't know. Okay, I've just seen this from Matt. What does honey do for your voice? Look, for the most part, Matt, honey is more from a sensory point of view. I know that honey does have good quality. Honey does have a product with an enzyme called propolis. If you drink enough honey, and I actually sell propolis lozenges within my studio. Propolis acts as a catalyst for vitamin C. It's an anesthetic enzyme that bees produce within the honey to help protect their hives from infection. And because honey has this wonderfully soothing effect, so there's a lot of research has done into the medicinal value of honey. But at a sensory level, it's just wonderfully soothing. So there's definitely something to be said about that, you might find that that's helpful. Okay, so Samuel Lauren, my vocal coach always talks about. So this question here, everyone, my vocal coach always talks about how singers like Beyonce and Adele sometimes use improper techniques to reach some of those impressive and powerful belts. But I find that in pop music, it's almost stylistic and needs to use improper techniques to mimic those sounds. Is there a proper way to build your voice to do powerful things like that in a healthy way? What a great question, Samuel. Really great question. Well, firstly, I would concur with your music teacher, your vocal coach, as you call him, your singing teacher. Look, the reality is, there is no perfect singer. Yeah? First, let's just get that out of the way. So any comments that I make right now, and you've mentioned Beyonce and Adele, there is no perfect singer. Even Pavarotti famously was not allowed to perform at a very particular opera house in Europe because he made an error in a particular performance at that particular opera house and therefore was never allowed to perform there again. There is no perfect singer on the planet. Why? Because we have imperfect biologies that are prone to imperfection. That being said, what I do want to just say is that unfortunately in contemporary music, we are still playing catch up in making the development of the contemporary voice a predominantly occupied by, so having singers reach the higher plateaus of performance, exposure. I'm trying to be very careful in how I say this. A lot of people still currently who are up at that level and have international acclaim may not have got to that point through really good development of technique. That in turn can expose those same singers to some real challenges later on in their careers, and both Beyonce and Adele specifically have had some significant vocal health issues. I'll stop short of saying, however, that was through poor technique. I have my humble opinions on that, but nonetheless. So what we want to do though is, what I do want to say is, you can most definitely have great technique and still maintain a great style vocally. Now, I'm actually in the middle of, currently in the middle of editing a new video which will go live in March, early March, about distorted voice, raspy voice, vocal technique and effect that has grit. There's no question in my mind that this sort of sound, distorted voice, which is the really aggressive end of voice use, is high wear and tear. It is a high vocal cost item on the vocal effects menu. But does that mean we shouldn't do it? Of course not. Certain styles require it and need it. And so it's learning to do it with much better skill that then empowers you to make that choice in a relatively healthy manner and a relatively sustainable way. And so the some of the improper techniques, however, that and this is why I often say, and we had a video on the channel, and you can go and check it out just recently, about copycatting, mimicking other singers, and why it's not a good thing to do, because often you will be mimicking really poor technique. And for many of you, not all of you watching this channel, but for many, certainly beginner singers, you're not yet empowered with the knowledge base in which to discern and distinguish what's good from bad, because our ears are drawn to the aesthetic value of the voice as opposed to that functional underpinning of the voice. And so it can be a bit deceptive. I'm so pleased, Samuel, to hear that you're with a singing teacher who is almost certainly teaching you how to distinguish between the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's really what it comes down to. So, dedicate yourself to the development of vocal health, sustainable technique, and then on top of that foundation, then build your vocal effects menu and get to know, what is higher cost than others and all those sorts of things. Samuel, I hope that answers your question. So coming down here, no, I don't want that. I went to click on something there. Catherine's asking, is it useful to use tuner to help key identify? Catherine, it certainly can be, especially if you don't have someone else in your space, like a singing teacher, to reflect back to you when you're, not quite on the mark with pitch. Catherine, I don't know how long you've been following my videos, but if you've been following them for any length of time, you will know that, look, I'm not a pitch Nazi. I don't get hung up on, accurate pitch. Do people want to hear us sing in tune? Of course they do. But often pitch, accuracy of pitch is a symptom, or so I should say, a lack of accuracy of pitch is a symptom of something else. And so this is where, great singing teacher comes in for you and your development, in you being able to register for yourself, where is the accuracy needed? How do I go about achieving that accuracy? Because it's not just an ear thing. It's often a laryngeal thing. It can be a tonal shape thing, a vocal tract shape thing. It can be air pressure. It's a whole range of things that go towards developing accurate pitch, not just your ear to larynx connection. Okay. You're more than welcome. Happy to do that. Bree's asking, how do you do a proper cool down after singing? Bree, I do have a video about vocal warm-ups, and you should go and check that out. Of course, a really good way to think of vocal cool downs is to do it in exactly, so if you've got a developed, and this is where you've got to go and watch the vocal warm-up video, if you've got a developed strategy for vocal warm-ups, then simply learn to do that same strategy in the opposite direction. So in my case, and this is going backwards for a cool down, I would start with some sirens, then I'd go into some lip bubbles, this is not telling you what you would do. This is what I do. Then I go into some arpeggios. Then I go into some NGs for some twang, and then I go into some hums, and then I generally finish my, especially after a really big vocal workout, I will finish with a steam, using a steamer, and I find that quite helpful. So Brie, I hope you find that helpful. Coming down here, I want to find someone else with a question. Samuel's asking here, also, how can you build a soft voice into a powerful one? That's a good question, Samuel. Jump onto my channel. Look, there's over 300 videos on the channel that will go into some of these questions, and you just want to go looking for a video on belt, B-E-L-T, and I think you'll get a lot of value out of that. So coming down here, if Mishy Boo 88 is who I think it is, I think it's one of my students, and it's good to have Mish here. If you're not who I think you are, Mishy Boo 88, then it's good to have you as well. Okay. Charles is being very complimentary. Thank you, Charles. Your videos are awesome. You've helped me out a lot. You're more than welcome. Okay, coming down here. I've only got time. I think I've only got time for one more question, everyone, because I am absolutely, I think you'd be happy to hear that my studio just is flat out. My vocal coaches have been telling me to do tongue trills for more than 2 years now, and I've been trying to no avail. Shiori, tongue trills. Now, I'm going to caveat this with just a thing. It is my current understanding, though I would be very happy to upgrade my knowledge with this and be corrected. But it is my understanding that tongue trills cannot be done by everyone. It's a bit like learning to, some of you can't roll your tongue. Yeah, some of you can't do that, and the reason you can't is because of genetics. Some of us have a little Darwin's peak on our forehead, and some people's index finger is longer, and all those sorts of weird little quirky things that make us who we are as individuals. And one of them is the ability to tongue trill. Now, it would be my guess. Now, I always, because I instruct people to tongue trill, but I always say, look, because I always ask, can you tongue trill? And a lot of people, some people will say, no, I've never been able to do that. So what I say is, look, for the next month, play around with it. Try it. It may well be, Shiori, that you are genetically incapable of doing it. And if you're that person, then no amount of trying will ever get you doing it. There are many other things that you can do. Now, I see your next point here of, they keep saying I need to practice, and I've practiced really hard, but I still can't do it. And then I realized I had severe tongue root tension. And yes, if you do have severe tongue root tension, then you most... I've just seen Mishy Boo 88 say, yes, I am Misha. Well, it's good to have you, Mish. Good to have you join in. I thought you might be. There can't be that many people around with Mish as their name. So, tongue root tension will and can cause the tongue not to trill, like we were just describing. But equally, it has been my observation that there are simply some people that just don't seem to be able to get it to do it. And so I would want to relieve you of the frustration of not being able to do it by telling you that, firstly. But secondly, there are many other activities. In fact, I don't use tongue trills to try and activate or deactivate tongue root tension. I use a whole range of other activities. And in fact, there is another video on the channel that that you might want to go and check out about tongue root tension release, and I encourage you to go and have a watch of that. And oh, Karen's only just got in here. I bet Karen has been watching. Who thinks? Give me a thumbs up if you think that Karen has been watching the NFL. Don't you just? I can see Karen watching the NFL every day of the year. Karen, because you've only just jumped in, we talked about the fact that I have no idea about the NFL. I know nothing about it, and so I would love to see people's commentary. We should take a vote on how many people think that Karen from Singwise Vocals is the kind of gal that would be watching the NFL, and probably with her husband and people over at the house having a great night. I don't know, maybe I'm completely off the mark. I think I might be. And I'm just waiting for Karen to defend herself and let us know what she did. But look, as I said, everyone, I do need to keep today short, and it's been great to hang out with you. Once again, can I just ask everyone to make sure you watch last week's video about the TV talent shows, and please share the video. This is you're looking right now at the thumbnail of that video, and I'm just so keen to get your feedback and hear what you think about TV talent shows, and to hear from you about that, and for you to share it on your social networks. As I've said last week, I've spent a little bit more time and money and effort on this particular video, so keen to get you to have a watch of that. But look, I've got to wrap up today because I am racked and stacked with clients, which is an exciting place to be, but also a very busy one. We do these live hangouts every Monday, 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So take a look at your watch, because 37 minutes ago in your part of the world is exactly when we do it every week. For most of you, it's still Sunday. If you're an Eagles fan, then I'm just seeing Linda's response. I only watch the postseason games, just a quiet evening at home, and I multitasked. Oh, did you just? It's good to have you join in late, though, Karen. Where was I? Yeah, we do these live hangouts every Monday. Don't miss Wednesday's event, video. It's about, I've put together a 3-day vocal recovery plan for you all, and keen to have you watch that. And then again, we have another video now that goes live. The vocal pit stops, I hope you're enjoying them. Less than 2-minute quick fire, usually about 1.5 minute quick fire video, just to get you into your weekend, to keep you singing. The vocal pit stop videos, loving putting those together for you. And I nearly forgot to let you all know, last Monday night I had the first pre-production video for a meeting for Voice Essentials CD number 2. Very exciting. Estimated time of arrival will be sometime in, I'm hoping late June, because they've got a lot of prelim work to do on that to make sure it's a really high quality. And I'm hoping that it's going to be really beneficial to all of you. Of course, if you don't own CD1, I'd love for you to grab a copy, and all the proceeds of that video, that CD, really go towards supporting this channel. But in the meantime, I'd love you to subscribe, hit the white bell icon, make sure you get the notifications for all the new videos here at Voice Essentials. And as always, I love hanging out with you guys. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.